So in religion, they teach that just because we are all the sons of Adam, that we are all the same. That's simply just not true. It's true that we are all the sons of Adam, but we are not just by default all the same. This theory actually comes from just laziness. You see, in Genesis, people get intimidated because they see a bunch of names. I'll say either intimidated or they're just lazy and they just want to just chuck it up to hell with that. We just gonna be all of the same. There's no need to research all of them names. That's just laziness. It's there for a reason. This is the book of Genesis. Genesis is where we get the root gene. This is where we get our genes from, our genetics. It shows how and why. It has nothing to do with religion because this is the Bible. There's the Bible and then there's religion. So let's get started. So chapter 5 from the top, the generations of Adam. It says so clear as day. Adam in verse 3 would then live a certain amount of time. But then the key point in verse 4 is that he would begat a son named Set. Or Set in verse 7 would then begat Enos. So it's father, son, grandson. It's showing how Adam generated, as it says in verse 1. Enos in verse 10 will begat Canaan. Canaan in verse 13 will begat Ma'alalel. In verse 15, we see Ma'alalel would begat Jared, and in verse 19, Jared would begat Enoch. So in verse 22, we see that Enoch will begat Methuselah, and in verse 26, Methuselah will begat Lamech, and then finally in verse 30, Lamech begat Noah. This is really a broad 10 generation how it happened to get from Adam to Noah. Very simple. Again, this was the old fashioned way between a man and a woman. It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with any. I don't even know how people can make this religious. It happens today. Male, female, you have a junior male, female. I don't know how this is, mysteriously having to do with a religion, but nonetheless, this is what you get. So this is meant to be drawn out. And when you draw it out, it's going to look something like this. This is the bird's eye view of the very same thing that we just read. So at the top, we have Adam, and then it goes immediately to his son, Set. Now, prior to chapter 5, you had occurrences where Cain killed Abel. Abel obviously can't reproduce because he no longer exists. Cain would then be cursed for a number of generations, and then the flood would take them out right here. So you have Set in this lineage here, which is why it's blue. So you have Set, Enos, Canaan, Ma'alalel, Jared, Enoch, the seventh from Adam, Methuselah, Lamech, and then Noah. The thing is that immediately following Noah, you have your first division of sons, Shem, Ham, and Yafet. Shem's children can't be the same as Ham and Yafet's children. It's a biological impossibility, just like Ham's children can't be the same as his brothers, and Yafet's children can't be the same as his two brothers. This also is the foundation to where terms were born. This is biology. Terms are absent. Biology is just terminology for, in this case, religion. So in religion, to be Semitic just simply means you whatever XYZ. I don't know. I don't care. But it's absent the foundation that you have to be a biological son of Shem. Same goes for Ham and Yafet. Same goes for everything else. How do we know that Noah had these three sons? Here's how. So here we are in chapter 9. It says in verse 18, and the sons of Noah that went forth from the ark were Shem and Ham and Yafet. You drop down to chapter 10, verse 1, you see the exact same thing. And the sons of Noah were Shem, Ham, and Yafet. Very simple. Again, it's biology. To be a son, you're by default dealing with it has nothing to do with any religion. The Bible doesn't talk religion. The Bible doesn't support and say, hey, be religious. That's a man-made thing. This starts off with the sons of Yafet. It says the sons of Yafet, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yawan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. 7 sons. These sons can't be the same as Ham's sons, which Ham has his sons right here, Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan. This dispels the false teaching that in religions that we're all the same because we're of Adam. And within these separate set of sons, they even have their separate set of sons. So even within each bloodline, because that's what these are, even within them, there's diversity. Let me show that. I'm gonna show. I'll show it with Ham. So right here, these are the sons, generations of Ham. 4 sons, the same ones that we just saw. You see the diversity here because within the sons of Ham, we see Ham here. These 2 sons have their own sets of children. The children of Cush can't be the children of Mizraim. It's impossible. But that yes, they are all Kemetic because they come from Ham. The name is of their father's name because their father created them. This is how even the tribes of Mizraim are called Mizraim because that's their father. But they're not the same as Cush. None of these Hamites are the same as Shemites because those are completely different people. If there's a prophecy, here's another example. If there's a prophecy against Mizraim, does that by default, because they're all Kemetic, does that mean that there's a prophecy against Cush? No. If there's a blessing towards Cush, by default, is that blessing towards Mizraim and Phut and the Canaanites? No. But that's something that's what religions falsely teach. So we have Yafet, his children here, Ham, his children here. As we scroll up in, we'll say verse 21, it mentions the sons of Shem. One of the sons of Shem is Eber, because it says so right here in verse 25. Eber is where you get Hebrew. You add a H and a W basically, but in English. So the thing here is that Eber, to be a Semitic Hebrew, doesn't mean anything religious. It just means that Eber, you're a descendant of Shem. That's all it means. But you can be a wicked son of Eber. You can be a wicked ass Hebrew. I think, people tend to think that because of your nationality, you're righteous. Hell no. But that's another point. So Eber was born 2 sons, Peleg and Yoktan. Let's get that. Bird's eye view of the Semitic lineage. We're going to home in right here. So we just saw this. Eber has 2 sons, Peleg and Yoktan. Yoktan had a gang of sons, like 13, but the point and focus is the side of Peleg, right? Peleg, which is a Hebrew. They're all Hebrews of this point. But specifically on this side, Peleg would produce Reu, Serug, and Nahor. Here's the Yoktan and all of his sons. We're going to get down to Peleg. Peleg is right here at the bottom, verse 17 of chapter 11. Eber lived and begat Peleg. Peleg begat Reu. You see there? Reu would then begat Serug and Serug Nahor. This is eventually leading to Abraham because that's what made Abraham a Hebrew in the first place. It had nothing to do with any damn religion. It has to do with his fathers. Now, his righteousness is a whole nother issue, but Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. We see here that Terah would begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. You see what I'm saying? This is what it looks. You're supposed to be doing this. This is a division. His children are his children, opposite of his children and his children. But they are brothers, they are Hebrews, they are Semitic. Abraham would then go off to produce his own huge family tree. Because people are teaching that Abraham is the father of many nations. That's true. But that gets translated to he's the father of all nations. That's a lie. Many and all are two different things, right? This is a bird's eye view of Abraham. I told you it was a huge family tree just within, his seed. So this top left corner is through his sons through Keturah, a concubine. This top right corner is the Ishmaelites through Hagar. Going downward, we have, I'm going to zoom in on this, but we have Isaac, who then had twin sons. Those twins go to the left and right. The left is the seed of Israel, Jacob, and the right is the Edomites, Esau. Okay, so the four families of Abraham are the sons of Keturah, the Ishmaelites, the Israelites, and then the Edomites. Now, right here we see this cluster. We can see it more clear. These only, again, you have Keturah. These only are the sons of Keturah. Going to the right, you have Hagar, Ishmael, and all of his sons to be a nation. Okay? Downward, middle, through Sarah is Isaac. It splits directly into two like a wishbone because these are the twins. You have Jacob and his four women as their cluster to produce the 12 tribes of Israel. This is your 12 tribes of Israel. Opposite of the sons of Esau. Just because they're twins, just because they're Hebrews, doesn't mean they're the same people. Because only Jacob received the blessings, the promises, etc. That's only this sect of Abraham's children. Abraham had many seeds, but only unto one. One is not all. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But again, I just wanted to get back to that point. Yes, we all come from Adam through Noah, but after Noah, we have your first division. Shem decided to be receptive to the teachings brought down from Adam down to Noah. Through Shem, again, you have your divisions. This is your Semitic divisions. Shem eventually would then produce Eber, or your first Hebrew. Then from there it went down to Peleg, to Reu, and eventually hitting Abraham. Abraham was receptive and was blessed. And then we just saw his lineage, the families of Abraham. Abraham would have 4 sets of children. One of those is the nation of Israel. That's how it gets that way. The nation of Israel is not dealing with location, okay? I cannot stress that enough. Israel is a people. It said, my people Israel. It's not my location Israel. Jacob, Israel, had his name changed to Israel. These are his sons, which is, each tribe is called after a damn son. Biology. Not a location. Not a fraction of land. The fraction of land was fractioned for the people Israel. You feel me? But getting back to it though, I just wanted to make this so that there's a bird's eye view and it could be clear. The Bible speaks one thing as far as genes and genealogy. Religions teach it. There is no such difference. We're all just one human family, willy-nilly. Yeah, we all come from Adam, but so So what? That doesn't mean we're the same, but I got my point across. That's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.